everybody. Welcome back to another video. This might be going up a little bit late, maybe a day late, I'm not sure. I have some stuff going on at the moment that I wasn't anticipating, so we'll see what happens with the upload schedule. But yes, week 6 of the NFL season is in the books. I was able to watch a few games this week. Broncos versus Chiefs, Lions versus Buccaneers, Bills versus Giants, and Cowboys versus Chargers. So 4 games this week. Man, my lip is split. That's interesting. That hasn't happened in a very long time. Oh, don't know. Anyway, let's hop into it here. Broncos versus Chiefs. So I'm going to talk about some of the notes I took during this game. I turned the game on at the start of the second half, and at that point the Chiefs start marching down the field to start the third. Broncos defense holds the Chiefs to a field goal. Wilson gets picked off just as it looks like the Broncos offense is starting to get something going. And I said that at that point the Broncos pass rush just looked really bad. Wilson gets back-to-back runs. Chiefs force a 3-and-out on what looked like a promising drive. Chiefs convert a big third down, but then a flag takes it off the board. Sets up a 3-and-17. And then the Chiefs start to let the Broncos back into this game a little bit. Broncos get a touchdown. They get a 2-point conversion. Kelsey gets banged up a little bit. He ends up limping off the field. And then 2 plays later he came back on, so I guess he's alright. Broncos defense gets a big stop. Chiefs kick a field goal. And the first play of the drive after that, the Broncos fumble, Chiefs recover, and that was the ball game. I'll score 19-8 in favor of the Chiefs, and I did predict them to win this one. I'm gonna need that because I think I did pretty bad this week. Russell Wilson goes 13 completions on 22 attempts. He gets 95 yards. It took him like forever to get past 70 yards, and less than 100 yards is crazy. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, just not a great performance there. Mahomes goes 30 for 40, 306 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And this is the game. Who was their wide receiver that was just getting absolutely flamed? There's one of the former players that was just absolutely flaming one of their guys. Who was it? Was it Jerry Jeudy? Yeah. I think it was it Steve Smith? Thought I need to find this. Yeah, Steve Smith was just flaming Jerry Jeudy, who did not have a great game and really hasn't progressed much at all on this Broncos offense. Broncos are now 1-5, and I think that's probably it. I mean, it was probably already it for them, but I don't know if I really see them being able to dig themselves out of this hole that they're in right now. Next game we have the Ravens versus the Titans. I did predict this one, and they did. I see that Malik Willis finished the game, but I'm assuming he didn't start it. So I have to look into that. Hold on a moment. Alright, so I'm seeing that Tannehill suffered an ankle injury against the Ravens in London, and he was replaced in the fourth quarter by Malik Willis. Tannehill went 8 for 16, 76 yards, no touchdowns, and interception. Willis went 4 for 5, 74 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Ravens win this one 24-16. Now, whether or not Tannehill's going to play next week is apparently unclear. But I would maybe operate under the assumption, as far as for the purposes of my predictions, that he is not going to play next week. Just given his age and the amount of time to recover. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders versus the Atlanta Falcons. I predicted the Falcons here. I thought last week they looked really good. The Commanders had kind of been a little bit meh lately, but I wasn't super confident in that pick. Honestly, it felt 50-50 to me. And I get my first loss of this week. Certainly will not be my last. I can tell you that right now. 24-16 is your final score in favor of the Commanders. Sam Howell gets 14 completions on 23 attempts, 151 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Desmond Ridder goes 28 for 47, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, honestly, if Ridder cleaned that game up a little bit, I want to say that the Falcons could have won this one, but 3 picks. But I mean, the Commanders do have a decent defense. I can understand how for them, that could have influenced his poor performance. Well, not even that poor, 307 yards, but just Sam Howell was extremely weirdly efficient. 3 touchdowns and only 151 passing yards. Like, Brian Robinson, what were their rushing yards at? Washington only had 72 rushing yards, 151 yards of passing. Well, actually, they lost yardage. They have 121 yards of passing. Sam Howell threw for 151. Unless maybe some of that's his rushing yardage, I don't know, but that's such a weird stat line for them to win the game on. Like, looking at their yardage, it wasn't that great. Meanwhile, Atlanta had 296 passing. Atlanta had 106 rushing, 296 passing. The Commanders don't even combine for 200 total yards, and they win by 8. That is one of the craziest stat blocks I've ever seen. I have to be honest. Next up, 49ers versus Browns. The Niners were a 9.5 point favorite in this game, which is pretty much as high as Vegas likes to go. They were expected to win by, again, almost 10 points, and they lose by 2 against the Browns with Deshaun Watson out injured. I didn't watch this game. I had to watch some highlights. Now, notably, Deebo Samuel goes out with a shoulder injury, and Christian McCaffrey goes out with an oblique and rib injury, and Trent Williams goes out with an ankle injury. Now it seems like all of them avoided anything serious. I'll say McCaffrey and Samuel probably missed the next game. I think they probably missed one more game. And Williams, I think, probably misses 2 to 3 games. I don't think these guys are out for the season. But this was an absolutely shocking loss for for the Niners. And I only watched the highlights on this one, but looking at some of the highlights, Brock Purdy looked lost at times because his two best weapons weren't on the field, and it was kind of like, what do I do now? Yeah, because they scored. The Niners only scored in the first and fourth quarter. And, let's see. Yeah, meanwhile, the Browns only got one touchdown, but they got 4 field goals as well. Purdy goes 12 for 27, 125 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. QB rating of 55.3. That's, I think, the lowest Brock Purdy has gotten so far in his career. PJ Walker for the Browns, he goes 18 completions on 34 attempts, 192 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. QB rating of 45.2. As the kids might say, they were having a mid-off, but I do end up getting that one wrong. Saints versus Texans. Stroud let me down last week after his little streak there, so I bet against him. I said the Saints will take this because Derek Carr and that offense finally looked like they'd figured it out. But then Stroud punished me for my non-believing, and the Texans beat the Saints. Both teams now are 3-3. Final score in this one is 20-13 in favor of the Texans. Derek Carr goes 32 completions on 50 attempts, 353 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. CJ Stroud 13 for 27, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And again, this one is ones you look at the yardage. New Orleans dominated the yardage. They combined for almost 800 yards. New Orleans had 341 yards passing, I apologize, that's 430 total yards, not rushing. So New Orleans had 341 passing yards, 89 rushing yards. They converted more third downs. They allowed the same amount of sacks. They threw the same amount of interceptions. Almost, an extra 100 or so yards compared to the Texans, and they still lose this one. Just again, kind of like the Commanders game there. Lost by 7. New Orleans was a 2.5 point favorite, so I guess I wasn't that far out of the mainstream with my prediction. But we're on 3 straight losses now. I need the Dolphins to stop the bleeding. And I did predict them to win, so that's good. I go back to 500 for the week there. Final score is 42-21 in favor of the Miami Dolphins. Bryce Young has 23 completions on 38 attempts, 217 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Tua Tagovailoa has 21 completions on 31 attempts, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And I saw this stat this week that really stood out to me. It said that the Carolina Panthers lead the NFC South in total yardage, but they are 0-6 and bottom of that division. They are generating more yards than any other team in that division, but the wins just are not coming for them. Chuba Hubbard, though, had a really good game. He's continued to look good this year. 88 yards on 19 carries. Mostert, 215 yards on 17 carries. And this isn't a knock on Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is good. He had a good week. He had 115 yards and a touchdown. But when your best receiving weapon is an aging Adam Thielen, you're going to have some issues. Seahawks versus Bengals. This is a game that I am glad I missed. Just based on the fan reaction and some of the clips I've seen, I predicted the Seahawks to get the win here. They lose. And the problem isn't that they lost to the Bengals. The Bengals are a good team, especially if Burrow is actually healthy now. The issue is the offense, particularly the red zone offense. Seattle had 294 passing yards this game. Geno Smith threw for 323 yards. And, Geno's 323 total yards. And they still get the loss, and it's like the offensive weapons, there's something not clicking right now at the Seahawks. Like, if you look at their receivers, Lockett, DK, they're not performing at the level they need to be performing at, especially DK. And like, DK has taken some stupid penalties this season that have cost the Seahawks in like important situations. And it seems like it's like, I don't know if it's like an attitude thing or like an ego thing, but it's like very inflated at the moment, and it just feels like he's hurting the team more than he's helping them in certain aspects, and it's really frustrating. Now Geno wasn't great this game either. Geno, he goes 27 for 41, 323 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. Burrow is 24 for 35, 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. But we couldn't get the run game going, but neither really good. Cincinnati, like, we rushed more than them, we passed more than them. But it's just, we took 7 penalties for 64 total yards lost. Like, that's not acceptable, the amount of penalties that the team is throwing. But this season, the concerns with the team were more on defense than offense. People thought we would have a really good offense. Kenneth Walker, DK, Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, who has been highly touted as a prospect, still does not have his first NFL touchdown. It's like, where is he? Where's the guy that everyone was hyping up during the draft? He just doesn't exist. Wow, definitely a frustrating loss as a Seahawks fan, and like, the team needs to figure out what their offensive identity is, because right now it feels like they don't have one. Colts versus Jags. I predicted the Jags here. Unfortunately, just earlier today, Colts owner Jim Irsay says that rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson is probably done for the season. Multiple concussions in the same year already for him, and as good as he looked when he's healthy, I'm really getting RG3 vibes right now from Richardson. And I hope I'm wrong. Like, some people thought he was going to be the next Cam Newton. But the thing about Cam Newton is he was durable. Cam Newton would take big hits, pop back up, and keep playing. Like, he did not get hurt. No matter how hard you hit Cam Newton, he did not get hurt. Richardson looks like he might be the next RG3, and we'll see what happens with him next season. I was super excited on him coming into this draft. And when he's healthy, he shows that he was worthy of that excitement. But just bad. And then someone posted his rookie year stats. 84 pass attempts, 25 rush attempts, 109 total touches. Somebody compared it to Trey Lance. 71 pass attempts, 38 rush attempts, 109 total touches. But yeah, we'll see. Only touched the ball 109 times his rookie season in the NFL. Very frustrating for Colts fans, I'm sure, and for him. I assume the Colts have their first round pick this season. Maybe you lose out the rest of the way. And get a good weapon to pair with Richardson when he gets healthy. May give him a better O-line. I don't know, but we'll see. Final score of this game is 37-20. Gardner Minshew, playing for the Colts, goes 33 on 55 pass attempts. 55 attempts. get 329 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. Trevor Lawrence goes 20 for 30, 181 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And the Jaguars are 4-2. They lead the AFC South, rather, excuse me, and it feels like nobody is really talking about them. Like, I'm gonna check the power rankings for this week real quick. Where do they have? Let's see, so this is CBS Sports, their power rankings, which is an article titled NFL Week 7 Power Rankings with no more undefeated teams. Is anybody that good? Lions, Dolphins among the risers. 6 weeks into the NFL season, there are no more undefeated teams. That begs the question, is anybody in the NFL that good? Let's take a look and see. Where do they have? They have the Chiefs at 1, the Dolphins at 2, the Lions at 3. The Niners fall 3 places, they go to 4th place. The Eagles fall 3 places, they go to 5th place. Cowboys are 6th, they have the Jaguars 7th, just ahead of the Bills and Ravens. So they are getting a little bit of love. They have them at 7th, I'd say. Ahead of the Bills, I don't know about that, but the Jaguars do look good. They're leading their division. And Trevor Lawrence finally looks like he's kind of found that next gear, which is exciting. Vikings versus Bears. I picked the Vikings here. And they win 19-13. Kirk Cousins goes 21 for 31, 181 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. In for the Bears, they have Tyson Bagent. He has 10 completions on 14 attempts, 83 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. To Justin Fields. Just Minnesota knocked Justin Fields out of the game. Hold on. Fields was sacked 4 times and exited with a right hand injury early in the 3rd quarter. Interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. Let me see. I'll see if there's any update on his injury. Doubtful for week 7 versus the Raiders. He has a dislocated thumb on his throwing hand. I mean, I was gonna pick the Raiders to win that one anyway, but I think that's even more motivation for that pick there. Speaking of the Raiders, Patriots versus Raiders. I predicted the Raiders to win. They win it 21-17. Actually, real quick, backpedaling to the Vikings. There was a thing saying Kirk Cousins will not waive his no trade clause except for one team in the league. He didn't say what team that is. I'm sure his front office knows, but there's only one team that Kirk Cousins would consider leaving Minnesota for, because I know there's been some conversation around him getting traded because of the start Minnesota's been having, but we'll see what happens. Okay, Patriots, Raiders. Raiders win 21-17. Mac Jones, he has 24 completions on 33 attempts, 200 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Speaking of Mac Jones, the game ended on a Mac Jones safety. So that's always fun. Garoppolo goes 14 for 22. 162 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And the Patriots are now 1-5 under Bill Belichick, which is absolutely, I never thought I'd be saying something like that, but they are 1-5. Crazy. Obviously I talked about this a little bit last week. There's going to be a lot of discourse around Bill Belichick and his future. We'll see what happens. I don't think Belichick can ever be fired by that franchise. I think he has the longest leash of any head coach in NFL history, but we'll see what happens. Now finally we get to a game that I was able to watch, Lions versus Buccaneers. I predicted the Buccaneers to upset the Lions here. The Lions were 3.5-point favorite. The Lions pummeled them 20-6. I liked what I'd been seeing from Baker so far this season. They lead the NFC South. I thought Baker was finally looking good in that offense. He had a really good week last week. Here's what I thought about the game. Buccaneers wearing the nice creamsicle uniforms with the OG logo, which is perfect. I said that the Buccaneers defense was doing a good job early. Buccaneers get the stop, but then the first play of the Tampa Bay drive, Detroit intercepts Baker. Bucs defense forces the field goal after the interception, gets Detroit a good field position. Lions defense pushes Bucs to 3rd and 12. They can't convert. Buccaneers next drive in 3 and 12 again. Also again can't convert. But I said the Lions offense was really struggling in that first half. The offense, that the Buccaneers were in it, even though they kept having those, really bad. They kept getting stopped, but they were still in the game because the Lions offense looked bad. Baker almost gets picked on 3rd down to a good drive. Bucs settle for the field goal. Then the Lions get the first touchdown of the game. Buccaneers get the stop to open the 3rd, but to settle for a field goal on their drive. David Montgomery goes out injured. I said that could be a big loss for Detroit. I'll have to check and see what his status is. Massive 3rd down conversion for Detroit. Goff to Williams. Great catch while he was covered. Touchdown Lions. Lions tack on another field goal to keep it a 2-score game. Mayfield goes deep, but his receivers haven't been able to catch anything all game. And then Detroit gets their 5th straight 3rd down stop, and that's when I was like, alright, this game's over. Let's check on Montgomery real quick, his injury. They say he'll be out for a little bit, so I think he probably misses at least 3 games, if not more, but that could be a big loss for the Lions. 20-6 your final score. I think I already said that. Jared Goff goes 30 for 44, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. Baker is 19 for 37, 206 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick. Amon-Ra St. Brown continues to be a beast. 15 targets, 12 receptions, 124 yards, and a touchdown. But yeah, I thought the Buccaneers could upset them there because the Buccaneers have looked, pretty decent. But they just looked flat this game. Nobody could get open. When Baker's receivers were open, they were dropping the passes. It was just a disaster game for them. Cardinals versus Rams. I predicted Rams, and the Rams blew out the Cardinals here. Supposedly Kyler Murray should be making his return soon, according to some reports I saw today. We'll see what happens, but the Cardinals are 1-5. Like, he's not gonna turn it around. I don't know about that. Maybe rest him till next season, but final score is 26-9 in favor of the Rams. The Joshua Dobbs hype train might be coming to a screeching halt after that good performance like 3 weeks ago at this point. 21 completions on 41 attempts for Dobbs, 235 yards, 0 touchdowns, and a pick. Matthew Stafford goes 15 for 24, 226 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, and Cooper Kupp is back. He gets a receiving touchdown this game. Did he come back last game or this game? I think he came back last game. We'll see. That was... Yeah, okay, he played the Eagles. Yeah, okay. So I missed that, but he did play the Eagles. Yeah, he was back this game. Got a touchdown. And 148 yards on 7 receptions. That's pretty good for Kupp. Well, it's good in general, but that's actually pretty normal for Kupp. Eagles versus Jets. I predicted the lost. And what's going on with these Zach Wilson Jets right now? They actually look good. Like, Zach Wilson has been humming these last couple weeks ever since the Chiefs game. Like, they've looked good. The Eagles they were undefeated no longer. Like I said, I didn't think anybody was finishing the season undefeated, but I wasn't expecting the Eagles to lose their undefeated to the Jets, and I wasn't expecting the Niners to lose their 0 to the Browns. So, Jalen Hurts, he opens this game with a rushing touchdown. He finishes the game with 28 completions on 45 attempts, 280 yards, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Zach Wilson, 19 completions on 33 attempts, 186 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And after this game, it was reported that Julio Jones is signing a 1-year deal to go to the Philadelphia Eagles. So it'll be interesting to see how he works in this offense. But this game, like I said, I've been saying it all along, even though the Eagles keep winning, I'm concerned with how their offense looks. I thought that Hurts did not look as confident this season as he looked last season. And 3 interceptions this game, that's kind of what I've been talking about. Like, his decision making this season looks worse than it was last season. And I feel like it's because they lost that offensive coordinator, who's now the head coach of the Colts. I can't remember his name at the moment. But I think that was a big loss, and this happens time and time and time again. I've seen this happen with so many teams. A team will get a rookie quarterback. They will find an offensive coordinator that really gels well with that quarterback. Like a QB whisperer, whatever you want to call it, and they build a perfect offense for this guy. And then even though the team is keeping that quarterback, they let the offensive coordinator go somewhere else. Whether it's to be a head coach somewhere else or an offensive coordinator somewhere else, it's like you can't let that guy leave. And I don't know if it's because the head coach has an ego and he's like, well, he's not the reason for the success I am. It's like, no, it's that guy. It's the guy who's with your quarterback every day talking about the offense. And I know sometimes, obviously, those guys want a bigger role somewhere else. They see an opportunity, okay, but, like, for example, you're the offensive coordinator for Jalen Hurts that goes to the Colts. Whatever the Colts are offering that guy, give him $1 million more. Give him $2 million more. Like, throw the bag at him to keep him there. Because so many of these teams let their offensive coordinators, who are like the perfect match for their young QB, their franchise QB, they let them leave. And then the whole offense looks different afterwards, and it's so frustrating. So many teams do this. Anyway, we finally get to a game I did watch again. These last 2 I watched, Giants versus Bills. I predicted the Bills here. I got that one right. So these were my notes on the game. Bills start the game on a 3-and-out. Then a 3-and-out for the Giants. There's not much happening early. Buffalo gets the first down of the game. Gabe Davis with the fumble, though, and then the Giants recover. Giants march down to the end zone. Daniel Jones takes a huge sack. Screen pass on 3rd down. Nothing comes of it. Forced kick a field goal. Josh Allen throws 3 straight incompletions, and I said the Buffalo cannot get its offense going. And I said, even though the Bills' offense is struggling, the Giants are having a really hard time capitalizing on it. The Giants' defense was completely shutting down Diggs, like they were doubling Diggs. They were like, you will not beat us. Bills settle for a field goal. Oh, that's true. I didn't even notice. Tyrod Taylor, did Daniel Jones leave the game hurt? Because at one point, it was Tyrod Taylor playing. Did he not play at all? has a neck injury. Okay, so he didn't place that was Tyrod Taylor who took the sack. I don't know why I thought that was Daniel Jones. Because then later I said it was Tyrod. Okay, weird. But I said Tyrod Taylor was moving really well outside the pocket. Like, he looked pretty good. For as bad as that O-line was, Tyrod Taylor's making it work better than Daniel Jones does. Giants get a second field goal. The Bills are down early. Back-to-back flags push the Bills to 1st and 25. Then Josh Allen had to leave the game after that sack for a medical check. They're checking him for a concussion. He ends up coming back in. But then Harris goes down. And I want to see an update on this guy. It was really scary. Reminded me, Damian Harris reminded me of the Damar Hamlin situation. And ironically enough, the ambulance that unfortunately had to come take him off the field had Damar Hamlin jerseys in the back window. But it looked like just a routine play. He goes down after a tackle, and he wasn't moving. He wasn't, there were guys around him. They took him forever to get him on the board. They did this one thing where they, like, shook his leg, probably asking if he could feel it. Nothing, like, he didn't know response. The ambulance comes off, takes him off the field, and I thought that, they might cancel the game. Like, I didn't know. He gave a thumbs up as he was being stretchered off. But, he's in the hospital right now. He has a neck injury. Apparently he has full movement at the moment, but who knows, you know, his career future. That's obviously not important right now, but just brutal. They finally get him off the field, and I was just thinking, like, how do you play after something like this? How do you focus on the game? And then Josh Allen threw an interception, like, on the second pass after the injury, so I was like, okay, so not well. Giants defense has come out strong in this game. I said terrible clock management in the first half for the Giants. They could have gotten a score there. And I think if the Giants if they didn't let that clock run out on the first half, like if they managed their time better, I think they could have won this game. That's how bad the Bills looked. Josh Allen scrambles, can't find a target, gets sacked again on second down. Bills convert on third down. Bills go to the goal line, but they keep coming up short. And on the third down, Bills finally get their touchdown. First drive of the fourth quarter. Giants break off 2 massive runs after the touchdown. Bills defense stops the Giants on third down. Field goal retakes the lead for the Giants. Then the next drive, touchdown to Morris. And that's the game for the Bills to win by 5. This Bills team is so up and down. They come out some games, like that Dolphins game, they look like world beaters. They look like one of the best teams in the league. Then they come out against the Giants and barely win, and it's just, I don't know what to think of this Bills team. Like, it depends on which version of the team shows up any given week. Tyrod Taylor, 24 completions, 36 attempts, 200 yards, 0 touchdowns or interceptions. Josh Allen, 19 completions on 30 attempts, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns and interception. Final game is Cowboys, Chargers. I predicted the Chargers here. Cowboys, to their credit, they get it done. 20-17, and I took a lot of notes on this game. Khalil Mack sacks Dak for a loss of 11 to force a punt. Khalil Mack with a monster week last week continues his impressive play this week. Chargers with an amazing punt return after that, a 36-yard return. Second pass the drive looks like a touchdown, but the flag takes it off the board. Massive reception to Eckler, and I said early the Chargers offense was getting whatever it wanted. Like the Cowboys defense in the first quarter of this game did not look ready to play. Touchdown Chargers. Back-to-back big plays for CeeDee Lamb. After that, CeeDee Lamb was very good this game. Cowboys go for it on 4th and 1. Dak keeps the ball. He runs it in for a touchdown. Herbert's pass gets batted down but goes back to him and he runs for the first down. Back-to-back penalties against the Cowboys on Herbert. The Dallas defense with a big stop forces a punt. Dak throws to the end zone, is nearly intercepted. Cowboys with a nice drive. They end the first half with a field goal to go up 3. Big drive for the Chargers. Herbert rushes for the first down. The goal line ends up being 4 and 1. Chargers go for it. Herbert throws on 4th and 1, but it's broken up. Huge defensive stand for the Chargers. Force a 3 and out after that. Chargers offense starting to march after that. The 3 and out. Herbert runs for another first down. Field goal to tie the game. Then Pollard has that huge play, probably the play of the week. Breaks off a big run after catch, gets the 10-yard line. It was like a 60-yard reception. Prescott to Cooks, Dallas touchdown. Chargers, they have a really good drive, but then one of their players gets a hold and forces them to punt. And then that punt is very controversial. It ends up getting challenged. Chargers get the ball back on a fumble on that play, on the punt. LA ball. I said massive momentum shift. Chargers have a chance in good position. The first pass of that drive after the punt fumble recovery. Gilmore gets a pass interference, puts the Chargers right on the goal line. But the Dallas defense forces a 4th and goal. Late throw by Herbert. It looked like could have been a touchdown if it was a little bit earlier. Chargers go for it on 4th down. Get a touchdown. Herbert to Everett. Huge sack on Dak. Loss of 9. Dak to Lamb for the first down, field goal range. Dak goes deep to Pollard, but it's incomplete. Then the Cowboys field goal puts them up 3. And the Chargers offense has 2 minutes to either tie the game or take the lead. I was pretty convinced we were going to overtime at that point, or maybe even that the Chargers would win. But then Justin Herbert throws the single worst timed interception I've ever seen him throw. And it's game over. Cowboys win by 3. Heartbreaking, back-breaking loss for the Chargers. Had to feel terrible after that one. Dak Prescott goes 21 for 30, 272 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks. Herbert has 22 completions on 37 attempts, 227 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And we had 15 games this week. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them correct. So, better than 50%, just barely. 8 divided by 15, 53% this week. And in total, I go 52 for 88, 93. I go 52 for 93. 2 divided by 93 is still 56%, so extremely consistent at the moment, but there we go. That is week 6 in the books. I don't think I'm going to end up uploading this late. My predictions will be up tomorrow for week 7. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this week of NFL football. And if you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.